So here's a problem. A lot of times in kind of tight spaces like this, that's actually the laundry room behind there. Now, one, we need to have a wide enough door for a washer and dryer to go in, so it's got to be a pretty big door. But in this instance, if it swung in, it'd be in the way and hit stuff. They chose to swing it out, but when it swings out, it swings across and hits this jamb right there. This really doesn't work very well. So if we had lots of wall space, a barn style door would be a good solution, maybe even a new construction, a pocket door. But you know, there's always challenges with pocket doors. For instance, if that slid back in there, we couldn't have any electric boxes or anything back in there. We couldn't have any plumbing. So that's kind of why barn style doors became popular. But in this instance, there's no room either way for a barn style door to swing or slide. But my good friends at Custom Service Hardware, CSH, came up with a solution for that that kind of combines the beauty, the look, and the function of a barn style door, but in a place where you don't have any room for one. Now, still lots of room through here, but nothing's being blocked. Of course, we've begun to trim this out, but there's some certain things about a trim detail for this. We have to have a broad, flat surface for the track to mount to. So the only way to really do that is to create a header detail like this and use some kind of pilaster trim like so. And this is all Windsor 1 material that we're using. We've got this great top-notch piece of material here. The thing I love about the Windsor 1 material is it lays flat, comes in really long pieces, it's got nice square edges, no voids, and it's got an amazing prime job on it. So it is absolutely wonderful to work with for a project like this. And all I did, just to keep it simple, is we just rounded over some 4.5-inch material here. Now, because that track, you know, does have some weight on it, we wanted to make sure that the header was back behind there. Once in a great while, you'll run into a situation where it was a non-load bearing wall where someone just kind of stick framed the header and didn't have a solid piece of lumber up there. Also, occasionally you'll see it where a framer on these tall ceilings, they'll put the header all the way up underneath the top plate and then frame down. At any rate, what I did is I just took a long screw and came up above. Yeah, I can see there's a 2x4 right there, but I came up above that and ran the screw in to make sure I hit wood. Once I hit wood, then I knew that, yeah, there's a solid header behind that. So there's going to be a lot for the long lag bolts that mount the track to hit. So this is the header detail, and it's going to go up there like so. Now, normally we kind of want those things to maybe turn outside corner, make a mighty return, because there's just not enough room. We just kind of cut it all close and have the painters caulk it in. But you may not be able to see this, but there's a gap right here. The reason for that is the sheetrockers have really built the sheetrock mud up in this corner, and so I can't get that up tight. It's really important for me to get this up tight. And by the way, I'm going to backtrack for just a second. What would I suggest doing if, you know, if that header hadn't been there? Well, one of the things that you could do, you can cut the sheetrock back out of the way where this, you know, where this is going to cover it. You could cut that sheetrock back out of the way and maybe add a layer of 1/2-inch plywood. Probably between going through this and through the 1/2-inch plywood, that'd be enough for your bolts to hit. You could locate the studs and try to drill holes in your track to hit the studs, or you could even maybe add some blocking. But one thing I would suggest is if you know, if you do happen to have just sheetrock with nothing behind it except where this plate is, I'd either add some more blocking behind it. I guess another well, I wouldn't even do that. I was going to say you could make this header detail thicker, but when you do that, it moves the door further away from the wall, so that's not a good idea. All right, this header detail, by the way, again, it's just a little thin ripping, but this creates an offset so that when the casing trim comes up underneath it, there's not a flush joint. Again, this is just a top cap material. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that sheetrock out where it won't be seen behind this. First thing I want to do is get this nailed in place so that I actually know where to start cutting the sheetrock out. Again, I'm just using some nice, these are actually 2-inch 21 gauge. That 21 gauge has just enough head and holding power, but doesn't leave a big hole. And again, because of being airless, it makes it really nice on a remodeling job like this. May have some dirt and stuff down. All right, so what I'm going to do now is lay the header across there and cut at the top of the header, cut the sheetrock out, and then I'll know that I can remove the sheetrock in the corners. Now, I'm not too worried about this because no one's going to be able to see at the top, but okay. I guess if I'd been thinking about it, I could have waited and found out when I did this that there was a header behind there. Well, I'll tell you what, that, talk about stubborn. I probably don't have to get all this out of here, just, in fact, probably just about do that. There we go. There's my header. Definitely gonna need a shop vac by the time I'm through with this. Let's try and back this one out. Okay. Let's hope the other side's maybe a little bit less trouble. Yeah, that's a lot less trouble. I got this side in good shape. It looks like I still need to take a little bit more off over here. There's for sure 3/16 of an inch of sheetrock mud built up in that corner. Get that screw out of there too. Well, I may need to take a fuzz off the other side too. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to need to put some bigger nails in that to pull it in, but all right, so we've got our header piece in place now. The next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to I'm probably going to locate and put this pivot down at the bottom. And I think I'm going to take the doors apart, so we have to deal with one door, and we can actually use that door with the roller on top of it to determine the height the track needs to be. That's the easiest way to determine it. So we're going to clean up a little bit, move a couple things, and then we're going to see what we can do about getting this bottom pivot put in.